Good to
Very
see
good,
you.
very
It's been a while. Good to see you. How
good to
you
see you too.
been?
Very good, very good. We'll catch up when you're
Yes,
free.
yes, yes. Good to see you all. Welcome. If I'm being very honest, I was not expecting so many people to join today, seeing how it's still a working day. We usually do our session on Saturday. I have a trip to take this Saturday, so we decided to move this set instead of not do one at all. We figured we'll do one a little bit earlier. So thank you very much for actually taking some time out of your weekday and joining. I see a lot of familiar faces. So I could get used to it. Same people showing up over and over every week. That's cool. Are you all excited to get started? So when I launched this session or when I listed this session on Maven, Claude was still, or Cowork was still supposed to be only available on the desktop app. But I was presently surprised to hear that it's actually coming now to desktop. So that's kind of what we are going to work on today. Our plan today is to look at Claude Cowork here. Let me just get myself organized here, which almost always happens, but okay. Our plan today is to look at Claude Cowork and see how we might be able to build some workflows, delegate your work. I'm going to try and show you the art of the possible here with how you can save several hours in using Cowork and trying to, outsource your work, my work. I have a specific pattern. I call it the Friday update, which I do at the end of the week in order to give an update to people that I report to and that report to me about just state of the union kind of thing. So we're going to try and build that today. But I think we have 45 minutes. We are already 3 minutes into it. So thank you everyone for joining. We are going to get started. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kayuri Anand. I usually do this session on Saturday. So thank you very much for joining me on a weekday. Probably you're driving from work or whatever it is that you're doing. I appreciate that you chose to spend 45 minutes with me. Today we're going to talk all things Claude Cowork, and we're going to see how we can save 50 hours or so in our day-to-day work with some agent delegation. And then let me quickly introduce myself. So, my name is Kayuri Anand. I currently work as a director of AI products at Applied Systems. Prior to that, I've spent 15 years in the space of product management, building traditional SaaS and cloud products and AI native products. All of that as a non-technical person who does not have a computer science degree. And which is why I decided to do this course, is because everything that I know, going from completely somebody who doesn't know how to read or write code to now somebody who is AI savvy and AI informed enough to decide what type of AI products to build. And I started this course to be able to share a lot of my learnings. A lot of the things that I learned aren't learned by way of traditional university or, like I said, computer science or engineering, software engineering degrees. It's a lot of it is very self-taught, self-learned. And I've been told that I am great at simplifying complex topics and helping people learn what matters and what moves the needle. So that's why I decided to start this course. And hopefully, I can also help a lot of you who are in the same boat where you are given all these tools like Claude or Copilot at your work and you want to use them, but you don't know where to start, and YouTube seems too overwhelming. And so I was hoping that this course or these sessions are practical enough, hands-on enough for you to pick up something and run with it and build something of your own. And as you build these tools, build a muscle on how to communicate well with agentic AI products, how to communicate with some of the large language models that are out there, and so forth. So building AI products and traditional products for 15 years. I also sit on a couple of boards and advise on all things product. Um, Before we get started, couple of housekeeping items. Cameras on if you can. I know some of you might be driving home from work. I would appreciate if you can keep cameras on. It helps me stay engaged and helps me know that I'm landing. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Keegan. Thank you, Sangamesh. Really appreciate it. Ram and Brijesh, always troopers. Thank you. Mic's off. I'll have some time for questions at the end, so follow along. Reactions and emojis are very welcome. They help me stay on top of things and they help me get a quick in session check that I haven't lost you and that you are safe and you're following along. All right. Um, so every session I do follows these four steps, and you can expect the same. If some of you, I see some of you who have actually already enrolled in my course, so you can expect something similar going into the course when we start in July. But we start with a mindset, which is a mental model shift on how we think about traditional SaaS or traditional software, or even something like Google search or chat function of ChatGPT or Claude, versus how we think about using a little bit more advanced tools that can do things for you and goes beyond just answering questions and finding information. So going from find me this information to take action on my behalf. That's kind of the land we are moving into now. And so we're going to talk about mindset shift that helps us get there. Then we are talking about a machine learning concept, an AI concept, anything that is a little bit technical, broken down and simplified for your consumption, as all of us are non-technical. Then we move into a live demo. Today, I'm going to show you how I build my Friday State of the Union report using Cowork. And we always end with useful templates, handouts that my hope is that beyond this 45-minute session, you have taken those templates, used them, built things, made them your own. And if you got stuck, reach out to me on LinkedIn for help. I'm more than happy to help you out. And if you are successful, then come find me in the actual course so we can build more of it. All right. So today's agenda is like this. We are going to be working, you're going to have a working delegation or a workflow automation, many different words, same thing. You delegate some task or an outcome to AI and give it instructions, AI does it. A repeatable framework on how, beyond my Friday Copilot, if you want to build something else that is your own, a framework on how to actually do that. And then I created this session because we just ended our Claude for Dummies session last week. This one, I wanted to keep it a little bit fun. So I have like a quick rapid fire style, 38 pro tips and gotchas to watch out for. So that should be a fun session. We're trying to something different here. So mindset shift is this. You are not prompting, you are managing. So, over the last 3 years, since ChatGPT came, we have all kind of used to learn how to talk to ChatGPT. Maybe some of us are still talking to it like we talk to Google search, but I would hope that a lot of us know the basics of prompt engineering. If not, it is a question essentially that you're asking the AI model. Oftentimes nowadays, the more informed ones of us will say, hey, you are an HR manager, I'm trying to, or you are a instruction designer, and you are going to help me build a course for influencing without authority and help me plan it out. Something like that. That looks like a decent enough prompt. When we say you are managing, you are actually going to give it an outcome. So we are giving not just instructions or asking it to say, go find information or draft an email for me or do this data analysis for me, but we are actually giving the Cowork an outcome that we are looking for. So something like every Friday, go ahead and review all of my calendar, my emails, and my Confluence notes and my Google Drive, review all the updates that were made in this last 1 week, and give me a summary of what worked, what didn't work, what are my high risk, what are my to dos for next week, whatever that looks like. So we're giving it an outcome. And the reason I put this as a mindset shift is because we want to be in a world where we reach for AI pretty much autonomously, just like how we had this idea of using Google search. Whenever you want some information, you just Google it, right? Prior to that, we were seeking books, and hopefully we used to go to library or talk to some learned wise people to get that information. Then Google came, we got into this habit of just Google it. Now we are somewhat getting into the habit of just ask ChatGPT, or just ask Gemini, or just ask Claude. But I want us to move one step further than that. And actually, every time you do a task that seems menial, trivial, mundane, monotonous, I want you to think consciously, intentionally, can I outsource this task to Claude Cowork? So that's the mindset shift. And some level of intentionality will be needed. That intentionality will come when you practice by building, and you do it more than once. You will build confidence, and you will start to figure out the art of the possible, and then you will autonomously reach for it. It's a muscle to build. It takes a lot of doing. That's the point. Okay, so there is a lot of reasons why somebody might want to learn AI and get upskilled on it. Majority of what I found, and actually, let me ask you all. You can help me in the chat. A, what domain are you from? And B, why do you want to upskill AI? Why did you join this session today? Or why do you keep coming back to my sessions? What's driving this thirst for knowledge? Is it career? Is it staying relevant in work? Is it just curiosity? Is it everything? Like, help me out in the chat. I'm genuinely curious why people want to learn and upskill in the world of AI. And while you share that, I'll share with you why I did it. So over the years, when I first joined in the product space, um, like I said, non-technical person, but having to talk to engineers all day long. Earlier in my career, didn't understand a word they said. Try to use YouTube and many different crowdsourced methods to teach myself how to read code, so at least I can have some sensible conversation and sound intelligent. All I was looking all that while was was the right keywords, the right mental models, the right frameworks to be able to have a sensible conversation. When ChatGPT came, I've always been a curious person, but when ChatGPT came, I saw that as an opportunity. I'm like, okay, here's something that the smart people in the room, the engineers, also don't know. And if I am ahead of figuring it out, then I am the smarter one. That was honestly the main reason why I totally got into it and started reading about it, uh, because I wanted to feel like I owned a seat at that table of smart people. So that was kind of my why. And then over the last 3 years, it has resulted in a lot of career advantages, and other avenues and doors have opened because of it. Met a lot of great people. But thank you for dropping your stories in the chat. I'm going to read those after, but it looks like some FOMO, some wanting to not be left behind, and a combination of wanting to get efficiency and career progress. So, why actually? Why this matters is exactly for that reason, right? If you are ahead in the game, being the go-to person at work who is known and savvy can open many doors for career progress. um, on a side note, I'm hiring for product managers at work right now. And when the recruiter asked me, like, what is the one skill that you absolutely need them to have? Is it insurance domain experience? Is it product experience? Is it AI savviness? And the only thing I say is I want them to be able to show me what they have built and answer questions around their thought process. That gives me two signals. One, they are curious, and two, they are problem solvers. Everything else I can teach. The curiosity can't. And ability to problem solve and think analytically comes by a lot of doing and practice. So, rant over. The whole point is whatever your why is, hang on to it and lean into it. And I will try to make it as easy as possible. I will try to give you the AI, serve you up AI on a platter in a as easy to consume a pill format. But you have to still take that pill yourself. So hang in there with me and keep following along. All right. So, what is Claude Cowork? Normally, technical concepts, we move into a blackboard, but I really want to move into our demo of Cowork and then the rapid fire session. So, we're going to skip the blackboard today, and I'll see if I can actually land this. Explain what Cowork is just using these slides. So, I already mentioned Cowork is this product in Claude, which is built, the underlying foundation is agentic AI. And the difference between Cowork and the general purpose chat that you might have seen with ChatGPT or other Gemini is that those they will go and search information. Cowork actually connects with your ecosystem and it can take action. These are the two main differences between chat and Cowork. So it can, once you connect it to your Google Drive, your email, your Microsoft tools, whatever tools, SaaS tools that you work with, data analytics tools, um, and so forth, you can connect it. I'll show you how to do that. Um, so you don't have to copy from your Gmail and paste it in Claude and be like, okay, here's an email that my boss sent me, draft a cohesive response that makes me sound smart. It can actually read your emails directly. It can respond on your behalf in Slack and so forth. So it works in your ecosystem. It can access all your information. So you don't have to be the middleman moving information and data from one software to another. And the second thing is that it can take action, meaning it can create folders, it can do things on your computer. Um, if that scares you, hang in there with me because I will show you how to point it and what makes it safe and secure and how Cowork specifically is not gonna, it's not designed to have full access to your computer, so you don't need to worry about it getting your credit card or password information or anything like that. So when we go into demo, I'll show you how you can point it to specific folders, and that way it's just limited to that area in your computer, but it can do read, write, and everything in that section. It can plan and parallelize, so you can give it an outcome and it knows where it is today and how to actually get to that outcome by planning steps and actually executing them, and oftentimes executing them in parallel. So if I ask it to read my email, my calendar, my Google Drive, it won't execute one at a time. It can actually read all three at the same time. So that's kind of neat because it can do things faster and more cohesive manner. And then the third thing is the best one, which is it can run remotely once you tell it to do something. Like I feed it instruction for my daily briefing, and while I sleep, it does all the things that I needed to do early in the morning so that when I start work, when I open my computer, it's already ready. So it's very asynchronous in that nature. Uh, and these three are different or differences between Cowork and just general purpose chat, right? Chat, you are constantly talking, and until you ask it a question, until you invoke the chat's not gonna proactively give you any answers. So that's the kind of difference. Okay, so then the good news that I started with is it was announced, Claude announced that Initially, Cowork was only available on your desktop app, and Claude recently announced 2 days ago, actually, is that Cowork now runs on web and your mobile application too, which is fantastic because if you want to execute these workflows while you're on the run or you are away, you can actually do that. It just helps a lot. Claude's other functionality was all available on on mobile, and Cowork wasn't, and now it has kind of caught up to it. So that's the good news. So you can kick off a task from your phone. It's like I think of it like back in the day when I had to go to work 5 days a week, and there was no remote work. We would start a slow cooker in the morning, so the dinner is ready by the time you come home. This is that version. This is the slow cooker version. You can kick it off on your cell phone, and by the time you get to your computer, it's ready. Hopefully, not as slow as a slow cooker, but that's what it reminded me of. Anyway, it runs while you're offline, and yeah, exactly. Um, and then it runs on the desktop. So you can trigger it from your mobile, but it runs on the desktop. So it still has your full power of everything. So quick summary, chat, you give it a question or a pasted snippet. Cowork will actually read the brief or document or folder of real files. It can just get that information. You just need to point it once and it can repeat that all the time. Chat functionality will give you texts that you still have to act on, react to. Cowork actually creates ready to do files. If you give it instructions to send the files, it will do that also for you. It has sent my reports directly to my team Slack channel every Friday and so forth. So I don't even have to take action. It will create and act on those documents. Of course, you'd want to see it first, but for smaller, simpler stuff, which it is really good at, you can just the reward or the risk of failure and the consequence of failure is low. You can um, go let it do things completely autonomously. Um, Chat, you have to, like I said, actively be there. Cowork, you can just trigger it and go do something else. um, Chat, one thread at a time. Cowork, you can parallelize a lot of the work. Chat is still good. Like, I wouldn't completely discount the chat functionality. If you want quick answers like, hey, what's the best can opener on the market, because I've bought three and they all suck, chat is still a good option for those types of questions. But where you want to outsource the actual like work that you used to do, go for Cowork. When you just want information for day-to-day life, um, chat is still a cheaper option and a good option for that. So, how do you actually climb the ladder of going from chat to Cowork? And remember, I said I'm gonna AI pill you all, meaning I'm gonna really simplify this and make it very easy to follow along. So, currently you might be doing the whole task yourself. For this example, I have used the task of my Friday State of the Union report. And what that is every Friday, before Cowork came, every Friday, no matter which company I'm working at, I have this habit of before closing my laptop for the day on Friday, I would manually look through my calendar to see, remind me of all my meetings from Monday till Friday. If I have any notes, I would browse through. I used to take paper notes. I still do. So I browse through the notes to see if there are any key decisions, key risks, key action items that I had to take. I would look through any to-do lists or tasks. I would browse through any emails that I might have sent. Um, Quick glance at my starred favorited Slack channels and Slack messages to see, basically get a mental download of what happened this week, what accomplishments were made, what risks were highlighted, what questions were asked that are still unanswered, and what is work that I'm taking into next week with me that is unfinished. I started or couldn't even start, but it's on my list and it's unfinished. That's kind of my manual process. I'm sure no matter what domain you are in, I'm sure we all have some form of that process, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly. We have some form of this process. If you don't have any of this, I'm sure you have at least a yearly process like this where you take stock of what happened in the last year when you have to write your performance reviews because you don't remember all the achievements that you had, but you still want that bonus. So you're going to go back and look at everything you did and achieved, right? So that was my manual step. So I want you to take a moment and internalize what is an equivalent of that process for you, that is regular, weekly, daily, that you do all the time. It gives you massive rewards, like it's useful. That's why you keep doing it over and over again. But the time it takes to do it is a toll you would rather not pay. It's a time tax that is something that if you can outsource that, or if you can have AI do it for you, you would rather do that. So take a second to actually think about that. And if you have a pen and paper handy, write it down, just a couple of lines or sentences, make a mental note, whatever that process looks like, just make a note so you can come back to it when we are ready to actually build your um, cowork. Then now you're making it AI assisted. So if you were doing that same process, how has it changed since you started using ChatGPT? Do you still do it completely manually? Are there aspects of it where you give it transcripts for your week's Zoom calls and say, summarize this? Or is there any other way in which, for that same process, if you use AI, make a note of that? Then comes the agentic AI, which is where we are going today. We are going to give it the outcome. We are going to describe the output, the outcome that we want, and we are going to let Cowork decide how it does that task. So we are going to say something like, "Here's a folder with all my information," or "Go look at my Slack, my email, my Zoom in the last week, and every Friday morning create a brief," something like that. So um, pick a recurring task this week and then move it from tier 2 to tier 3. If you're not even at tier 2, if you're at 1, go straight to 3 because the tech allows you to do that now. So that's a mental sort of shift on how we are doing it. And when you are ready, when you've identified what that task is, then we are going to start to create our prompt, our instruction of outcome to Cowork. And there are certain framework of instructions that I want you to always follow. So if you're making a similar Friday update like I am, or you're doing any other task, you have any other process that is manual and tedious and you want Cowork to automate it, in your prompt, I want you to be mindful of this framework in that in the structure. So give it some context, right? What is the situation? What it is that you're trying to do? Point it to a folder or a source of information. I say folder here, but it can be Slack, connected to Slack, connected to Google Docs, your shared drive, whatever source has your information, whatever is the folder equivalent. It could be your Gmail account, it could be your Zoom account, which has all your transcripts of calls, whatever that looks like, but folder is the source of information. So connect it to the source of information. Let it know who the audience is. If you're just building it for yourself, that's fine. You can say, I just want a daily briefing or a weekly briefing. But if you're building it, this briefing, because you want to send it to someone like your team or your leadership in your company, or your husband or your wife or your, doesn't matter who, let it know who the audience is. And then the deadline is kind of an aspect of time. Do you want it to run every Friday? Do you want it to run once a month? Whatever that timeline looks like, these things will, what it will do is it will give it full kind of boundary of what you want it to achieve and what good looks like. Here you can also upload a sample. Like if you're asking it to create a brief every Friday, if you already have a brief that you're manually always creating it, give it a sample so it can follow the same structure. If you don't have a brief, that's fine. It will make some assumptions. Uh, or you can ask it to ask you questions. So whatever assumptions it's making ahead of time, you are on board with those assumptions. So far, so good? Everybody with me? Yes? Okay. Those that don't have camera on, show me some emojis so I know you didn't leave me hanging here. Okay, good. Sangmesh, Jodine. Good. Okay, then we are going to give it a role. So if you are an HR business partner, right? But um, today you are building a course curriculum. So you are an instructional designer today. You are an HR business partner. That's your job, that's your role. But for this task, you are wearing the instructional design hat. In the role column, I want you to give it the hat that you're wearing, not what your offer letter or your job description on your company profile or your LinkedIn says. Okay. So the role is the actual role required to do this task, not your official designation. So if I'm a product manager, but I'm designing mockups and I want it to design mockups for me, I'm gonna tell it that you act like a designer, not act like a product manager. So in my case, I'm gonna say you're my chief of staff, you're gonna do all of these things. And then roles kind of put a boundary. You can give it more details. If you didn't give in the context area, you didn't give it an example of what good looks like a sample, then definitely give it tone. Like, how do you want the tone? You want it to be long, elaborate, you want it to be short, succinct, confident, explanatory, descriptive, whatever it is that you want, and what's the standard like that you want it to follow. Then comes the actual task. So just give it the outcome. Just tell it what you want it to do, not the steps to get there. It'll figure out the steps. So you can say, I want a one pager or I want a 5 slide deck. And you don't need to give it the outline for the 5 slides. It'll figure out what those are. And then you can ideally say, if it's a weekly or a monthly delegation that you're building, you can ask it to show you the plan first. Show me the plan that you're going to execute before you execute it so I can approve. This does two things. You get to see right away what it's going to do. If you're doing it on Wednesday and you are making a delegation that runs on Friday, you don't need to wait till Friday for it to actually execute it. You'll be able to see it right away and provide it feedback and iterate on it until it looks perfect for you. And two, execution directly and then reiteration eats up a lot of tokens. So if you're on a plan that is budgeted and you have limited amount of token, looking at the plan and iterating on the plan is cheaper than iterating on the execution step. Cool? So few key points. Always give it context and point it to the source of information. Tell it what you want, how you want it to look like, and what is the end goal. Uh, Tell it the outcome that you desire, whatever that is. Is it a deck? Is it a one pager? What format you want it in? And always iterate on the plan. Tell it to show you the plan at least once if it's a regular delegation, so you don't waste money in your token. Rule of thumb, rule of thumb, if you've ever onboarded a colleague, you already know this framework. So you've take it and apply it to the actual software aspect of it. Cool? Okay. So let me drop this link in the chat of the handout. It will be in the slides also, but let's drop it in the chat of the handout. And I'm going to build the Friday report now for you. So I'm going to input it a messy project folder, and the output is a polished one-page weekly update for my managers. I'm going to walk you through how to do it, but the slides are built for you to go back and watch them, and it will be helpful. So let's go ahead and quickly um, I'm going to quickly open Claude now. Are you all ready to get your hands dirty? Open your Claude and let's get working. Uh, so let me share the link with you here in the chat. Okay, that's the actual Cowork delegation. That Thank you for all that thumbs up and emojis. I love it. Okay, I have my Cowork open here. You can see my daily briefings run like this. Oh, Claude users. Fable is free. It is awesome. If you have not used it, please use it. Quick TLDR on what Fable is. Fable is Anthropic's smartest model so far, and it is really, really extremely smart. It's leagues ahead of its other models. And so Anthropic has decided to give it for free to its users for next few days. I believe it's until July 12th, or something like that. And then after that, it's going to be priced on a per usage basis, and it's going to be super expensive. So I think it's going to be so expensive that only enterprises can afford it. Individual users, it's going to just be too expensive for us unless we are building software or doing some real things that are going to give us massive amount of revenue out of it. So while it's free, use it. The way to use it is anywhere in the chat function. Go here, you see this area. For future knowledge also, if you don't know, here's where you can pick the model for the type of work. So Haiku is the fastest model for quick search. So if you're just doing chat questions, like what's the best can opener on the market, or draft an email for my boss telling them I need vacation or whatever that looks like, Haiku is fine. Sonnet is for your most efficient everyday tasks. This is my by default go-to model usually for day-to-day tasks. Opus, when I want to do something complex and nuanced, like setting AI products vision and strategy for the whole company. Like the stakes are high, it's deciding, it's analyzing a lot of data points, and it's deciding the future of the product org of the company. So then you bring out the big guns from Opus 4.8. Unless you have Fable 5, which is for free right now, then you can use Fable 5 for complex tasks. So for our purpose, so it says here, it's until July 12th. It's for your toughest challenges. Use it because it's available. May as well use it. Um, so then you can have chat, or you can do Cowork like this. Um, you can also invoke it in the actual desktop app. So we're gonna go in Cowork, and here's the actual guide. If you can see it, you're welcome to open this in your own computer for when you do it. But here's the delegation brief template. You can see it's really like small. I haven't elaborated it. We can give it more context and elaborate on it, but I just wanted to paste it here so we can work with it in here. Now, one other thing. So I showed you how to use and change the model. I want to show you this manual. Every time you do something, I try to always keep it at manual because I want the task to ask for my approval every time. I don't want it to go crazy. If you have any simple menial task that you don't mind letting it go crazy, you can skip all the approval and Claude will just execute on it. If you like living on the edge, this option is a great option to experience some thrill on Claude's back. But otherwise, choose manual. All right. This portion here, it says initiatives. In yours it might say something else. It's basically where you choose a folder. So when you go here, you can say choose a different folder, and it brings you to your whole drive, and you can just pick whatever folder your work lives in. So your folder structure might look different in your computer, but give it a folder where you have work that it lives in. I put it to my initiatives folder because my initiatives folder usually has all my notes, all my data dump of the key initiatives that I'm working on. So that's one source of information. Remember, we said point it to the source of information. You can point it to several sources of information so it can parallelize Gmail, calendar, Zoom, everything you want. So the way you do that is by going here. Quick pause. Are you all following? Did anybody lose what I was doing? Did I lose you? So far, so good? Okay. Then you go to the plus button here and click on connectors. When you click on connectors, this bar opens. You can add a connector. If you have not added any connector, these Google, Granola, Slack, these won't show up for you. So you can just go to add connector and browse connectors. And when you do that, a whole big list of popular software opens up. And you can connect it to any of these software that you use it for do your work. So if you're doing job search, Indeed, if you're doing something related to music, you can add Spotify to it, Shopify to it. If you have your notes management system, database, Stripe connection, QuickBooks, if you're accounting and you're or a small business owner and you do your accounting in QuickBooks, there is a lot of different services that you can connect it to. And if you don't want to go through it, you can just search it. So you can just find it. When you find it, you can, here, let's see, Gmail is a popular connector. Office 365 is a popular connector. I usually, so when you go to Confluence, you can connect it to Atlassian all together, like the whole of Atlassian all at once, and it will be able to pull up a lot of your information from there. Once you do that, so let me just show you how it does. Once you do that, like let's say we want to connect to Notion, it's gonna ask this, and you see here how in a separate tab it has opened a login page for Notion. So all I would normally do is log in here with my Notion account, and it's gonna connect Notion with my Claude, and everything I have in Notion will be accessible to Cowork. Cool. So you all know, and you can keep doing this until you have connected one at a time all the different sources that you wanted to read from. Um, okay. So then coming to the prompts, you're going to say, you can say whatever role you want it to have. I'm saying you are my chief of staff. Review everything in this folder, and the folder is initiatives. It's already connected. So I don't need to mention that the name or anything else. It just knows. It covers all our initiatives for produce a one-page weekly update for my team with 3 sections. So I'm telling it what structure I want it to have: progress, risk, and next steps. Match the tone of a confident but honest status report. No fluff. Ignore anything in the archive subfolder. Show me your plan before you start writing. And when I hit go, it's going to create a actual plan, and it will tell me what it's going to do, and then it will ask me what cadence I want it to run on, and then we can actually go ahead and let it show, tell it what instructions you need to have, and then it'll just run it every single time. Okay. So let me, so far so good. I want you all to try that at home. It's still going right now. So um, maybe later I can show you what the output on that looks like. So I want you all to try at least one such skill. Don't have to use the existing, like the exact same one that I am doing, but you can actually, yeah, don't have to do it the one that I'm doing, but you can actually do yours. So let me share my screen for couple of other things that I want to show you and talk through, and then we want to go into the rapid fire section. So, the plan. So, Cowork will show its plan up front. So, that's where your intervention comes into play. Make sure that you are looking at it and reviewing it. Normally, you see the hours saved went from 0 to 2 hours because this thing was costing me 2 hours a month. So, we changed it. Um, Also, you want to check whether it's touching any other files. It shouldn't normally, but is it going to or generating content or doing web search or things like that you didn't ask it to do? So double check for sanity check for some of those couple of things, and then keep going. So once you have a first draft, always, this is just a basic instruction, always push back, always make sure it's vetted, it's accurate before you forward it to anyone. And that was the build aspect. I'll see if it's when it's done I can go back and show you, or did it error out, we can check. Here are some additional tips of how I go from like saving an hour 2 hours to like really supercharging this. So before you delegate any work to Cowork, here are some basic setup tips that will help you really get good responses faster from it. Sorry. This was not supposed to happen. Okay. Um, So, dedicated cowork folder. So, give Claude its own workspace. So, uh, give it a dedicated folder. So, it's saving tokens and it's not like doing a lot of other stuff. Copies that are, give it copies, don't give it originals, because in that folder, if you don't want it to be edited, don't give it those folders, because otherwise it's going to edit, it could edit and rewrite based on your instructions. Use projects for recurring work. So anything that you wanted to self-contain in a project, use projects for recurring work, because you just need to brief it once and it repeats that. If you give it the desktop folder instead of giving it the initiatives folder like I did, it will do a lot more than you want it to do. Like it will do everything, edit anything and everything on your desktop. So make sure that you're mindful of pointing it in the constraint boundary of where you want it to be. And then web and mobile will are good. Web and mobile app are good for starting and redirecting the work. Connecting the folders for every project. Connect your top 3 tools first. So main things where your life lives, mostly email, calendar, and Google Drive. Update the desktop app all the time. Wherever you see a Claude ships updates very frequently, almost on a daily basis. When you see an update now button, click it, let it restart. It takes literally a couple of minutes. It'll unlock a lot of new capabilities for you when you do that. And then don't connect sensitive files, bank accounts, stuff like that. QuickBooks is okay because it's an accounting software. QuickBooks itself, Intuit has a lot of guardrails built into it, uh, in it on its own. So that's anything that you see as connectors is safe, but don't directly point it or give it your bank statements or stuff like that unless you are okay with Claude having that information. Okay. Next, briefing. So brief the outcome, not the steps. Like I said, tell it you want a five-page slide deck. You don't need to give it outline and stuff. Save yourself the time. Assign a role. Point at the specific folder so it can see everything in context and cross reference. Um, Always plan first. We already talked about it. say what to exclude. So if you don't want it to include something, tell it to exclude certain areas, like I did in mine, ignore the sub archive folder. Um, the bullet points are context, role, task, checkpoint. Every time, do it in that order. Name the format, state the audience, show what good looks like, and one brief can generate multiple outputs if you prompt it properly. So use my prompt as a starter and then iterate on it as you go. Okay, supervising while it works is not necessary. You can walk away. You can watch the plan. You don't need to watch every single step being executed. Once you approve the plan, let it do it, same like an intern. um, if it's blocked, make sure you answer questions, or if it needs access, because we said, remember, we chose manual, which means every time it's blocked, it's going to ask you for approval. Make sure you unblock it quickly so it can keep moving like an ideal employee. Queue tasks. So start delegation two while one runs. You don't have to wait. Like, you can start multiple delegations all at once. You don't have to wait for one to complete. And that way you can save a ton of time. Um, you can use your phone to redirect it, give approval, unblock, let it parallelize. If it drifts, always check for drift and redirect. And last of the rapid fire is review it like you're reviewing a new intern's work. Uh, Promote winners to schedule tasks. What this means is, if it does one delegation really well, you can repeat it on a cadence. So make it into a scheduled, repeatable task to kind of multiply your time savings. Um, Cowork will learn, more you use it, the more it learns. So you don't have to give it the same level of depth and breadth every time. You can assume that it remembers previous instructions on different delegations also. That's another good thing compared to chat. Like, if you ask chat some specific thing, it has short-term memory confined only to that one instance of the chat. So this is good because it can remember across. Um, and then this is a cool pro tip, is like batch by energy. Delegate the tedious multi-step work, and then the judgment calls are yourself. So if you need to make a judgment call and you have 5 different aspects of data analysis that needs to be done to make that decision, let it do all of the analysis. Let it give you all the answers so you can look at all the answers all at once, not one at a time. That makes it a lot more efficient. Feedback in the same session. So keep giving it like, keep using the same session to provide it feedback, so it improves. And then you can tell it to save a winning brief as a template, and it will remember that. You can tell it to update its memory to remember everything we talked about today, and it will actually do that. And then um, Claude also has connectors with PowerPoint and Excel. So if you want decks to be made and your go-to choice is PowerPoint, not Google Slides, you can actually give it instructions in Claude. And if you have Claude and PowerPoint connected, you can actually go into PowerPoint then and edit the rest of the way. So you can hand off like that also. Okay, quick things to watch out for. No point using Cowork like a chat. So use it for what it's good at. For chat type of smaller things, you have chat. Um, if you have high stakes work, always have checkpoints. Don't use too many tiny tasks, batch big tasks at once, so that um, your token cost is conserved, and you don't burn through it for small stuff. Kitchen sink folder. So more disorganized your file management is, the more chaotic your response is going to be. Claude can do some curation, cleaning up the folder and stuff like that. So if you know that your file management is pretty disorganized, then start with the instruction of organize my files, then read my files, then do this. So that way, before it does anything, it's organized itself. This is pretty basic, but I like to call it out every single time. Delegate the labor, do not delegate the judgment. The manual work, tedious, busy work you can delegate. The decision making power should always be yours. Um, and then don't forget the desktop app, meaning that once you get used to mobile, the desktop app still has the most amount of features. So always come back to it. Here's your homework to actually reclaim the 50 hours. Run the Friday report demo from the link. You can run it the exact same way that I have if you want. That's the simplest way, no brainer. Or you made a mental intentional note of what your format is, so you can run, uh, tailor it to yours, and then do a recurring report. You owe someone the tailored copy, and then this Friday, like, go all the way. So iterate between now and Friday to get it perfect, and then Friday make it a cadenced report. My God, everyone wants to talk to me today. Okay. Um, this is what happens. This is why I don't do calls on evening times, because there is a lot of personal calls going on. Okay. Um, 50 plus hours a month, and that's a system, right? These 45-minute sessions, we do one workflow. I showed you the Friday workflow today. Um, in the actual cohort starts in July, on July 24th, we build the whole system. So not just one workflow at a time, but we do basically the whole operating system, and we do it tailored for your use case. So if you are an HR person, you build an operating system that you need as an HR person. If you are a finance person, you build your operating system that you will need to do your finance related work. So it will include projects, agents, connectors, multi-agent workflows, the works. And this was just a little taste of what the full personalized cohort would look like. So if this is helpful to you, and becoming a super practitioner, kind of leveraging AI to go from 0 to 100 is on your radar, then we are enrolling now. My team would like you to know that we are 90% sold out at the current price point. So if you are interested, do enroll, because maybe they do the discounts. I think every time I do a session, there is a couple of more days and then the discounts go down. So the price is lowest today, and I think it will only go up from here. So if you're interested, please sign up. I would love to see you, help you on your goals in the 4 weeks. So it's 4 weeks. We start with mapping your individual workflows on what work you are doing, what outcomes you are looking for, what you're looking to build. And then we work backwards from that goal. So we build your own context files, then we build your skills that you normally use so you can use them going forward. Agents, then we do multi agents and create an repeatable operating system for your work, whatever domain you are in, so that we can you can scale this for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, however. The most important thing in doing courses like this that I have found is it's very structured, right? So it's 4 weeks in and out, and you kind of from zero to hero in 4 weeks, I like to say. But more than that, yes, you will have a system. More importantly, you understand the language. So when I say multi-agentic skills workflow, after the 4 week session, you will actually know what that means. You will know when a new technology comes, on what to research, how to learn. So your ongoing learning becomes 10x, because you now understand the basic alphabet that is needed to know. That's for me, that's the biggest takeaway from something like this. So anyhow, it's here, it's enrolling. If it's on your radar, this would be a good time to sign up. Um, if you choose to continue meeting me in these 45-minute sessions, um, I'm doing one session next week. Actually, this one is part of a massive series that Maven is doing for AI powered practitioner. And they only select some hand picked sessions to feature in that. And this session got picked as part of the feature on Maven. All of that to say, a lot of people believe that how to build a Claude super agent is the skill to learn. So meet me on July 18th at 9 a.m. PST. We go back to our Saturday cadence from next week onwards to build a super agent using Claude. That was an hour right on the nose. And thank you, weekday. And you all still stayed with me. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I would love to see you on July 18th. Okay, thank you. Bye, everyone.